Hey there, you're listening to We're Just Talking About It. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 5. We are sitting back down with Sabir, who lives in New York City. He currently works for a think tank with New York University and also works with other nonprofits. We start today's conversation asking him about the separation between mosque and state, and if it's even possible. And if he could ask the Taliban one question, what would it be? What about the separation between mosque and state? Is that possible in Afghanistan? We've touched on this with some other guests.
Ooh, it's a taboo. It's a taboo. You cannot talk about this. With all honesty, I don't think it's a possibility in the near future.
And why do you say that?
We have. So first of all, going a little back in history, in 1919, in the 1920s, when the first Afghanistan king who got our independence from the Brits, he wanted to do something like that, not necessarily separate mosque with state, but trying to modernize Afghanistan, and perhaps he was trying to base it off the Turkish model. But it didn't succeed. You know why? Because there maybe, there could be 1,000 reasons that we could talk about that maybe some other time. But the key reason was that when he brought the separation between mosque and state, there was a whole resistance against that. By the conservative elements, by the Puritans, that's going to continue. That's not. My thing is that if we can find a way that both state and mosque could live peacefully together. I don't know how. Because why not? Is also our constitution is Islamic, right? So it's based on Sharia. That's what our Afghanistan constitution is. Most of our laws are based on Sharia. So I don't know how easy would it be for it to be separated from Islam.
I like that you use the word Puritans. I think that's a good way to explain that, especially to maybe an American audience, that there have been these just constant repeats of the government trying to change a little bit, and the Puritan movement, just having none of it and pushing back so hard against the government that it's created these constant competitions to prove who can be more Islamic. If you look at, even during the Civil War, and then the Taliban were trying to be more Islamic than the warlords, and then, even today, if you look in politics, there's a lot of presidential candidates that are trying to make sure they look just as Islamic as everybody else, and they want to make it look like they're not going to deviate in any way, because you don't want to make the Puritans angry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Not being able to talk about it, do you think that's a big issue in as far as progression goes, like being progressive? If you're not able to talk about something, how do you change it?
There are people who are talking about it, and there are, as I said earlier, elements of progressive Afghans who are trying to change things, but it's not going to be that explicit.
Mm-hmm.
As in the U.S., you have separation between church and state. I don't think that's something that I would personally like to see in Afghanistan. But is it something that's going to happen tonight? No, it's probably going to take a long time, and it's probably going to be really hard. But if possible at all. But if there were to be some sort of understanding between mosque and state, some sort of arrangement where, because we are one of the backwarded countries in the world, and I partly blame this for the type of regimes that we have in there. We go from one extreme to another. We have this extremist communism to then Islamists. So Afghanistan has been going through I think all forms of extreme governance.
Yeah, yeah.
Our monarchs were like killing each other's family in order to remain in power, and our so-called seculars, they were like so crazy left-leaning that they killed so many people, and they arrested so many people under different governments when the Soviet was assisting the leftist governments in Afghanistan. And then you have the Islamists. So we are going from one extreme to another, one extreme to another. I think it's for right now. It's for the Afghan. We're getting very political right now. I mean, I don't know if your show is political, but for a political elite is to find a way to see how all this can work. We have gone from one extreme to another. Is there a middle ground?
Right.
Yeah, that is a challenge, and you can definitely see it in the run up to the presidential election. We'll see a lot of discussions about where does the mosque fit in the state, and where does that all go. I think my big question to you, maybe your generation and folks younger than you in Afghanistan that you talk to, where do they come down on having more or less religion in the government? Are they really kind of starting with access to the internet and seeing what's going on in the world? Are they saying, hey, what if we tone this down a little bit and we stop racing to see who can put more religion in government, and we just worry about taking care of people? I mean, where do they really come out on that?
I think it depends who you ask, because like if you have the youngsters from Kabul who were going to government schools or private schools, and then which private schools? Some of them that are going to like westernized private schools, they would probably want less religion. But if some of them are going to private schools that are funded by Puritans or religious scholars or whatnot, then they have a different view.
Sure.
They want more religion and politics. Like the whole idea of the Taliban are like fighting. One of their main concern is that this system is not Islamic enough, and they have a lot of followers, as you know. Thousands of people have signed up for Talibanism, and they even have their their supporters who actually were either inside the government or outside the government, but they have their sympathizers there, even those who disagree with them in terms of like the whole jihad thing. So all I'm saying that there are two camps to this. One is that is for more religion, the one is that for less religion. And
do you feel like
yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, do you feel like you can sense a trend? I know, I mean, I talk about religion a lot to a lot of younger people, and I almost feel like there's a trend amongst people. Well, I'm pretty old now, but people 30 and under, younger folks that are kind of moving away from religion. It's just a natural trend with this generation. I don't know if you're seeing that same trend in Afghanistan or if it's a little bit different.
I'm seeing that a little bit, but I'm not convinced that it's like a huge trend right now.
Okay.
Because I'm also seeing that there was like a study been done about these religious schools in Afghanistan by Afghan Institute for Strategic Studies, for example, and they found out that a lot of people have been radicalized, even in places like Kabul.
Yeah.
So. But I understand, because like the millennials, they are less religious, and some Afghan millennials that I have come across, they demonstrated that they have said things that I would like, you're talking about this in Kabul. Like it's amazing how you can, as I said earlier, how you can find these pockets of progressive Afghans in middle of nowhere. You're like, oh wow, okay, so like you find like you're vegan, there's like a vegetarian Afghan or something. You're like, oh, so it's something like that. But I think we have a responsibility, especially those of us who are trying to find a way to this problem, to support those elements. especially those who are for freedom of speech, for human rights, for things that are important for a democratic society.
Another question you had was, why does the Taliban continue to fight? Why is the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan and an Islamic constitution not enough for them? Why are they continuing to fight?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a question that we should ask the Taliban. Why is this not enough for you guys?
I think that's an excellent place to start. We'll pass it on to Ambassador Khalilzad. Hey,
yeah,
what is not Islamic enough for you?
Exactly. I mean, he might have asked them those questions already, but I don't know. They want their own way, like my way, or what is the expression?
My way or the highway, yeah.
Yeah, my way or the Shaw's Road.
Yeah. So it's that. Otherwise, like I was there in Kabul in November, and it's a dry country. I mean, it's you cannot drink alcohol. Women, like there's the dress code for women, and everybody's covering, and like the constitution we talked about is Islamic. And I really didn't know, like, what, I mean, I'm sure there are, like, certain, like, technical terms that they wanted, like, tweak in the Constitution in order to make it more Islamic that I wouldn't talk about it here because I'm not a constitutionalist. But I think it's just the Puritan way. The ideological Taliban, they have a specific ideological aim, and the ideology that they followed when they were there was very
puritanical. Yeah,
puritanical.
They've got special notes in the sides of their Quran that they want to make sure they enforce that aren't there.
Sure, and you are an expert. You translated Quran yourself, and you know that you can interpret the Quran in a lot of ways. And one of those, and the Taliban have their own way of interpreting Quran. So, I wish I had like a shorter answer for you, like a more clear answer for you. But my conclusion is what is it?
Is it possible that they're no longer, I mean, they may be claiming to fight for Islam and on behalf of Islam, but it is just this front for them to continue to do what they want. It's not really so much about the religion. They don't want it any more Islamist than it already is. They've got something else they're fighting for at this point, but they're just using the cover of their religion to get what they want.
They want that political power more than anything. You know.
Of course, yeah. Jason is right. They want the political power, but there's also there are other stuff at play. You know, the regional powers. You have Pakistan. We have so much going on there that are backing this the Taliban, and but I don't want to like whitewash the ideological aspect of the Taliban movement here. So we have to be cognizant of that issue, that they are. Yes, by now, I mean, they are a political / militant, but also an ideological group that are trying to achieve this ideological goal. That is a Puritan system of Islam, a Puritan Islamic system for this country called Afghanistan.
Yeah, they want to model it in that Taliban ideology and image, and that's it for them. There can be no other. Unfortunately, although like some of the Taliban that are now they have now become political activists and whatnot, and they're not fighting. They're living in Kabul or somewhere. They are trying to tone down a little bit. Like yesterday, there was I think Taibaha. One of the former Taliban commanders who now live in Kabul said that we should tone down, and there should be, but the problem is that he's just one individual. Sure.
There are not that many of them who say that, like especially those who are in power. Those who are in power right now are those who are sitting in Doha and Quetta and Peshawar and cities like that. The ones who have surrendered, or the ones who have said, enough of this, and now they live in Kabul or Herat or something, they don't have a lot of power. Although they could be a bridge between the current Afghan government and the Taliban. But yeah, I mean, so far, Jason, you're following up on this issue very closely. The issue of negotiations. They have not backed down from their demand of an Islamic system.
Yeah, they're definitely holding on to that. I mean, this is important to them. It's one of those things. As soon as they admit they can, ease back in any way, they know it destroys the ideology behind their insurgency, and it starts to fall apart. And that's kind of where we are now in the peace talks. They know if they take a few more steps, their insurgency takes a big blow, and we wonder who's forcing them to keep on that talk, because it's certainly not going well on the ground over there for them. I mean, the Afghan military is pretty darn good right now.
But unfortunately the war goes on, and unfortunately there are more people are dying, and especially civilians are dying every day.
I think and it's the most frustrating part for everyone.
Yeah.
When we know, the Taliban have admitted they politically cannot or militarily can't win, yet they keep fighting, and that if they won't have a ceasefire, it will mean just more civilians have to die every day, and that's so frustrating.
So one scholar once said that if they say that if they agree to a ceasefire, then their job is over.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where we're at until they will admit.
I mean, if we were to get like to some level of reduction of violence, that would be at least good,
Yeah, it'd be excellent.
Doesn't have to be a ceasefire to begin with, but now we're like talking another topic. I think the question was why the Taliban want a Puritan Islamic system. I mean, it's basically that's the ideology of the Taliban, and that's what they. I don't know. A lot of them were in madrasas. I mean, you can go back to the history of how the Taliban came to an existence and whatnot, and overwhelmingly they want an Islamic state, basically.
Yeah. Now, so are most of your family still living in Afghanistan? Have a lot of them moved to Pakistan or to the U.S.?
No. All my family, they live in Afghanistan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So for me, it's also difficult to see like all these things going on. I mean, every day I follow on the news from Afghanistan, and it's like half of my heart is in Kabul and half is in New York right now.
Yeah,
I bet
it makes it even harder to.
Yeah.
When you've got all the family over there. And so, do you talk to family regularly and get reports and what's going on, or?
Every day we talk. Now with technology, you talk every day.
That's great.
You're on WhatsApp, you're on Skype or whatever. You talk every day, and actually, sometimes I feel like I know more than what they know, because they try to go about their daily lives. Like my sisters go to school. Two of my sisters work for the government, and I have two of my sisters who go to Kabul University. My brother's the same. Two of them work for the government, and one brother is trying to get to Kabul University, has to pass an entry exam. So they actually go about their lives. They want to study. They want to progress, and they're scared. And if there's an explosion, I get scared from here, and then I keep texting them, how are you doing, what's going on? Especially when I know that the explosion was the vicinity of where they work, because they work in different ministries that actually one of the ministries were recently attacked.
Oh, wow.
It's a very I'm in a very weird position, but also like in general, like I'm from there, like it doesn't matter that if my family was there or somewhere else. I think if you're from like a community, and if something happens there, you always keep thinking about them, and you always you worry about them.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That is where we will stop with Sabir today, but we will wrap up our conversation in our next episode with him. And we focus specifically on interfaith communication and how we have these conversations outside of our own religions and our own groups. As always, thanks for listening. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at We're Just Talking About It, and you can email us at wjtanc@gmail.com.